Hello, I'm Timothy Reed. I'm Director of the MOONLITE project. This is a project which is funded by the European Commission as part of the Erasmus Plus programme, and it's running from 2016 to 2019. Now, this MOOC is one of the results of this project, and it's intended for anybody interested in using open education as a way of helping displaced people, refugees, migrants, etc. Specifically, we're interested in the use of MOOCs for displaced people, and this course will be of value for refugee support groups, for teachers who are interested in using MOOCs who perhaps previously have never come across these types of courses and don't have access to our platform, but would like to use them. Also for MOOC providers and higher education institutions that do have access, but are interested in the economic and social aspects of their application. And really what we're trying to do in this MOOC is to bring our results alive, present our results, our reports, and our best practices in an agile and dynamic way, and let you interact with them and with us. So why did we actually propose this project? I think it dates back to 2015 when the UNHCR Commission were publishing the amount of data about the problem of refugees, and I think that really brought the question to light. I mean, the latest data we have about this now, and I think the data comes from 2017, is that there's somewhere in the region of 68.5 million people that are forcibly displaced in the world, of which almost 29 million are refugees. And this is a great problem, and I think we've all seen the harrowing images on our media. And as academics with experience in open education, we thought that we could somehow help in this particular, with this problem, specifically how we can use these open educational resources and practices in the shape of MOOCs to help the refugees and migrants with problems of social inclusion, employability, and entry in higher educational institutions. So we're academics that have some experience of using these sorts of practices, and in fact there are already quite a lot of MOOCs available and intended for refugees and migrants, but there's still some problems that really need to be solved. On the one hand, how the existing MOOCs can be adapted to the methodological and technological context in which refugees and migrants often find themselves. They may not have access to computers, the internet or network access might be limited, and they're often quite on the move, so we need ways of getting around these sorts of problems. And on the other hand, there's also difficulties with, they're used to learning in a face-to-face fashion, so working online can be difficult. And of course, the other side of the coin is that even if they do the courses, or they come well qualified from their own countries, if they've left that particular context in a rush, they haven't been able to brought their certificates and evidence of prior learning. So we're actually quite interested in resolving the problem of how we can actually accredit these students and give them something which will actually help them to, in the sense of employability and entering higher education, as I mentioned before. Now, the difficulty here is that each higher education institution is like a separate context completely. And for example, in the MOOCs in UNED, we've been using them since 2012. So we're very lucky. We've supported quite a lot from our institution, and we've been using them for some time, so it's really not that difficult for us to be able to start new courses for different collectives. But that's not the case for all of our partners. So what we particularly want to do in this project is to explore the individual contexts in our partner institutions, and from there try and bring out some best practices. And from these best practices, hopefully we can be an example for other institutions and other people who want to go down the same road that we're actually going down as well. So we're actually producing a series of reports as part of this project. First of all, we've got one that's about the actual state of MOOC application in higher education institutions, which is actually available, showing what the universities are actually doing at this moment in time. Now, the panorama in the MOOC community has actually changed since, for example, 2012, which is when I helped to set up Open UNED, which is our MOOC program. In those days, a lot of the certification was actually freely available, and the courses were available quite a lot of the time. Now the access is actually restricted. They can be on a course completely available, for example, several times a year, but it doesn't mean it's always available when people need it, which is something we need to address for a more dynamic population such as refugees and migrants. And also now in most of the MOOC platforms in Europe, free certification as such doesn't exist. So this is something we really need to highlight. Try and find some practical ways around it for our refugees and migrants, and also at the same time highlight a set of best practices which other institutions and similar academics can try to apply. Another issue we're actually looking at, as I mentioned before, was the whole methodological and technological issues of how to design the MOOCs. As my colleagues will be talking later on in this MOOC, and you'll be able to see the examples, we've tried to incorporate refugee support groups, NGOs, and particularly refugees and migrants in the design and development process. So we can really try and make the courses adapt well to their particular experience and needs. And that's something we're doing at the moment. And the idea at the end of the project is, if you like, to produce a set of best practices which we can actually then use to disseminate and publicize the situation, and hopefully from there really harness the value which MOOCs can have for this collective. So I think that's all I really have to say now as part of the introduction. I hope you like the course you're going to find here. I hope you participate in it, and I look forward to interacting with you in the forums and using the other tools which we'll have available. Thank you, good luck, and goodbye.